In the official record, the case is known as the People of the State of New York versus Donald J. Trump. And for now, the people have the stronger hand. They have insider witnesses, a favorable jury pool, and a lurid set of facts about a presidential candidate, a payoff, and a porn star. On Monday, the prosecutors will formally introduce the case to 12 all-important jurors, embarking on the first prosecution of an American president. The trial, which could brand Mr. Trump a felon as he mounts another White House run, will reverberate throughout the nation and test the durability of the justice system that Mr. Trump attacks as no other defendant could. Though the district attorney, Alvin L. Bragg, has assembled a mountain of evidence, a conviction is hardly assured. Over the next 6 weeks, Mr. Trump's lawyers will seize on 3 apparent weak points: a key witness's credibility, a president's culpability, and the case's legal complexity. Prosecutors will seek to maneuver around those vulnerabilities, dazzling the jury with a tale that mixes politics and sex, as they confront a shrewd defendant with a decades-long track record of skirting legal consequences. They will also seek to bolster the credibility of that key witness, Michael D. Cohen, a former fixer to Mr. Trump who previously pleaded guilty to federal crimes for paying the porn star Stormy Daniels. Daniel J. Horowitz, a veteran defense lawyer who previously worked in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office prosecuting white-collar cases, said, "Prosecutors can be expected to corroborate Mr. Cohen's story wherever possible. The prosecution has layers upon layers of evidence to back up what Michael Cohen says," Mr. Horowitz said. Both sides will lay out their cases in opening statements on Monday, offering dueling interpretations of the evidence some 6 years after the payoff to Ms. Daniels entered the public consciousness and briefly imperiled Mr. Trump's presidency. But in previewing the case for prospective jurors last week, Manhattan prosecutors emphasized neither the payoff that secured Ms. Daniels' silence nor the sex scandal that was buried in the process. One prosecutor, Joshua Steinglass, instead distilled the trial's stakes to a fundamental question. This case is about the rule of law and whether or not Donald Trump broke it. Mr. Steinglass's boss, Mr. Bragg, has offered a loftier interpretation, casting Mr. Trump's actions as election interference. Mr. Trump, he argues, orchestrated a SC. Mr. Bragg's prosecutors will seek to turn that 2016 campaign strategy against Mr. Trump. The tactics that helped propel him to victory will be admitted as evidence and reconsidered far beyond the courtroom. Aides and friends who lied on Mr. Trump's behalf will take the witness stand to testify against him. They include David Pecker, the tabloid publisher who bought and buried damaging stories about Mr. Trump; Hope Hicks, a spokeswoman who tried to spin reporters; and Mr. Cohen, the fixer who paid Ms. Daniels. Mr. Pecker, who ran the company that owned the National Enquirer, is set to go first and is expected to recount for the jury several conversations with Mr. Trump about the hush money, according to a person familiar with the plan. Mr. Trump faces 34 felony counts and up to 4 years behind bars, but more than just his freedom is at stake. If convicted, he might lose the right to vote, including to cast a ballot for himself. If he were to win back the White House, he would be the first convicted criminal to serve as commander-in-chief. And the question of how he might serve a prison sentence, should it come to that if he does not receive probation, could throw the country into turmoil. America has grown accustomed to Mr. Trump smashing through its customs and is now witnessing a first-in-248-years phenomenon. Presidents have been impeached, driven from office, and rejected at the polls. Mr. Trump is about to be the first to have his fate decided not just by voters, but by 12 citizens in a jury box. And they all hail from Manhattan, the borough that made Mr. Trump famous, and where he is now deeply unpopular. A favorable jury pool, legal experts say, has given Mr. Bragg a leg up at the trial. Yet the jury, which was finalized on Friday and includes 6 alternates, is no rubber stamp. It includes at least 2 people who have expressed some affection for the former president, and it takes only 1 skeptical member to force a mistrial, an outcome that Mr. Trump would celebrate as a win. The stakes are high for Mr. Bragg as well. He is betting his career and his legacy on a prosecution he inherited, rejected, and then transformed. When he took office in 2022, he declined to bring a financial fraud case against Mr. Trump that his predecessor had prepared, prompting an uproar when 2 prosecutors resigned in protest. But Mr. Bragg continued to investigate and soon revisited the hush money deal, an episode that had become known internally as the Zombie.